The average American family is throwing away over $1,000 in food every single year. Not because they're wasteful people, not because they don't care, but because nobody ever taught them the system. That $1,000 isn't abstract. That's a car payment. That's a family vacation. That's a week at the beach sitting in a trash bag on the curb every single year. But here's what's interesting. The families who have cracked this problem aren't eating less. They're not meal prepping sad containers of plain chicken and lettuce. They're eating better, more protein, more fiber, more energy, and they're doing it for as little as $60 a week. In this video, you're going to learn the exact 23-item grocery list that makes that possible, along with the science-backed tricks that make every single one of those items work twice as hard for your health and your wallet. And stick around until the end because the final strategy alone could save you hundreds of dollars a year, and almost nobody is talking about it. Welcome to Essential Pantry. If smarter eating and bigger savings sound like something you want more of, hit like and subscribe right now so you never miss a video like this one. Let's get into it. Let's start with the most expensive line on any grocery receipt: protein. This is where most household budgets quietly fall apart. People grab whatever looks good, toss in a couple of expensive cuts, and suddenly half the weekly budget is gone before a single vegetable hits the cart. The fix isn't eating less protein, it's getting dramatically smarter about which proteins you choose. And nothing illustrates that better than the egg. For roughly 28 to 30 cents per egg, you are getting 6 grams of complete protein. Not just any protein, complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot produce on its own. On top of that, you're getting vitamin D, vitamin B12, and choline, a nutrient critical for brain function that the majority of people are quietly deficient in. There is genuinely no other food at that price point that does what an egg does nutritionally. It's not even close. Now, here's a small tip that most people overlook. Stop storing your eggs in the door of the refrigerator. The door experiences the most temperature fluctuation every time you open and close it. Move them to the middle shelf where the temperature is stable, and you can extend their freshness by up to 5 weeks. That's not a small thing. That's an extra carton of eggs you're not throwing away. From eggs, let's talk about chicken. Specifically, why you've probably been buying the wrong cut your entire life. Chicken breasts are everywhere. They're marketed as the clean, lean, healthy choice. And yes, they're perfectly fine. But bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs are often half the price. They're harder to overcook, and frankly, they taste better. For a budget-focused kitchen, thighs aren't a compromise. They're the upgrade. But the real money isn't even in the thighs themselves. It's in what you do after the meal is finished. Instead of throwing the bones away, drop them in a bag in your freezer. Keep doing that until you have a bag full. Then cover them in water, add an onion and a few peppercorns, and let them simmer for a couple of hours. What you get is homemade chicken stock, a rich, deeply flavored liquid that would cost you $6 or more at the grocery store. You just made it from what you were about to throw in the trash. This idea has a name, and it's worth burning into your brain: freezer arbitrage. Your freezer is not just a storage unit, it is a financial instrument. When proteins go on sale, and they go on sale regularly, you buy in bulk. You portion them out, you label them, you freeze them. You have just locked in that low price for the next several months. Every time you pull something out of that freezer, you're cashing in on a deal you made weeks ago. That's not frugality, that's strategy. Now, rounding out the protein section are 2 items that don't get nearly the respect they deserve. The first is canned light tuna. It's shelf-stable, it requires 0 preparation, it delivers essential omega-3 fatty acids that most people in the modern diet are chronically short on, and it costs almost nothing per serving. Keep a few cans in the pantry and you always have a protein source ready to go, no cooking required. The second is Greek yogurt, but with a very specific instruction. Do not buy the individual flavored cups. Those small, brightly packaged cups can cost twice as much per ounce as a large plain container, and they're often carrying a significant sugar load that undermines the health benefits you're buying them for in the first place. Instead, buy the large 32-ounce container of Greek yogurt. Here's why it's worth it beyond just the price. Greek yogurt is strained. That straining process removes liquid whey and concentrates the protein, giving you nearly 3 times the protein of regular yogurt in the same serving size. Add your own fruit, a drizzle of honey, some oats. You control what goes in it, and you pay a fraction of the cost. Once protein is handled, most people make their second big mistake. They either fear carbohydrates entirely or they eat the wrong ones. The truth is that the right carbohydrates are some of the most powerful tools you have for sustained energy, gut health, and long-term satiety, and some of the best ones in existence cost almost nothing. Start with rolled oats. At 15 to 20 cents per serving, oats offer what might be the single best nutritional return on investment of any breakfast food that exists. They contain a fiber called beta-glucan, which the FDA has formally recognized for its ability to lower LDL cholesterol. That's the kind associated with cardiovascular disease. That's not marketing language. That's a government health agency putting its name behind a food. The trap to avoid here is the flavored instant packet. Those packets can cost 4 times as much per serving as plain rolled oats, and they're carrying added sugar, artificial flavors, and sodium that completely undercut the health benefits. Here's the thing. Plain oats cook just as fast in a microwave. 2 minutes, done. Add whatever you want, banana, peanut butter, a pinch of cinnamon. You just made a better breakfast than anything in that flavored packet for a quarter of the price. Now, here's where things get genuinely interesting, and this is one of those pieces of information that once you know it, you'll never cook rice or potatoes the same way again. When you cook rice or potatoes and eat them hot, your body processes the starch in a fairly standard way. It breaks down relatively quickly, spikes your blood sugar, and you get energy followed by a drop. But when you cook those same foods and let them cool completely in the refrigerator, something remarkable happens at a molecular level. The digestible starch restructures itself into what's called resistant starch. Resistant starch doesn't behave like regular starch at all. Your body can't fully digest it in the small intestine, so it passes through to the large intestine where it feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut microbiome. It behaves more like fiber than carbohydrate. It lowers the glycemic impact of the meal, meaning you get steadier energy with less of the blood sugar spike. And here's the part that surprises most people. Even if you reheat that rice or those potatoes the next day, a significant portion of that resistant starch remains intact. You get the warm meal and the gut health benefit at the same time. This is why batch cooking grains isn't just a time-saving strategy, it's actually a nutritional upgrade. When it comes to pasta and bread, the single most important habit you can build is reading the ingredient label before you buy. Specifically, you're looking for one thing. The first ingredient listed should be whole wheat flour, not enriched wheat flour, not wheat flour, whole wheat flour. If it says anything else first, you're holding a refined green product dressed up in wholesome-sounding packaging. Why does it matter? Whole wheat retains the bran and germ layers of the grain, which is where the fiber lives. That fiber slows digestion, keeps you full longer, and prevents the sharp energy crash that follows a meal built on refined grains. You know the feeling, the 2 o'clock slump after a white bread sandwich lunch. Whole grain products largely eliminate that because your body is processing them more slowly and evenly. The price difference between whole wheat and white pasta or bread is minimal. The difference in how you feel for the rest of the day is not. Most grocery budgets don't collapse at the meat counter or in the bread aisle. They collapse in the produce section, and then again silently in the trash can at home 3 days later when half of what you bought goes soft and gets thrown away. The solution is to shop for produce based on 2 criteria: nutrient density and shelf life. When you shop that way, waste almost disappears. The single most underrated vegetable in any grocery store is cabbage. A full head of cabbage can weigh 3 pounds and cost less than $1.50. It keeps in the refrigerator for weeks without going bad. It works as the base of a stir-fry, a coleslaw, a braise, a roast. It is one of the most versatile vegetables that exists, and most people walk right past it because it doesn't look exciting. But here's what takes it to another level entirely. If you take shredded cabbage, mix it with 2% of its weight in salt, pack it tightly into a jar, and leave it at room temperature for about a week, you will have made sauerkraut. Probiotic-rich, gut health-supporting sauerkraut. The exact same product that costs $4 or $5 in a health food store. You made it from a $1.50 head of cabbage and some salt, with about 10 minutes of actual effort. Sweet potatoes and carrots belong in every cart every week without exception. One medium sweet potato provides more than 100% of your daily recommended intake of vitamin A, which is critical for immune function and eye health. Carrots offer similar benefits at a similarly low cost. And here is a rule worth following permanently. Never buy baby carrots. Baby carrots are not a different variety of carrot. They're regular carrots that have been peeled, trimmed, and cut into small pieces by a machine. You are paying a markup of close to 100% for that convenience. Buy the whole carrots. Spend 30 seconds cutting them yourself. The nutrition is identical and the cost is half. For bananas, the strategy is simple but effective. Instead of grabbing a bunch that's all at the same stage of ripeness, deliberately choose a mixed bunch, some yellow ones that are ready to eat now and some green ones that will be ready in a few days. This naturally stages your consumption across the week with zero planning required. And if any of them go brown before you get to them, don't throw them away. Peel them and put them in the freezer. Frozen, overripe bananas are the base of a genuinely good smoothie, and they make a naturally sweet banana bread that requires no added sugar whatsoever. Zero waste. One more produce note that's worth making clearly: don't overlook the frozen vegetable aisle. There's a persistent belief that frozen vegetables are inferior to fresh ones, and it is simply not supported by the evidence. Vegetables chosen for freezing typically harvested at peak ripeness and flash frozen within hours, which locks in their nutrient content. Fresh vegetables, by contrast, can spend days or weeks in transit and on shelves, losing nutritional value the entire time. A large bag of frozen mixed vegetables gives you ready-to-use, already prepped nutrition with zero spoilage risk and zero prep time. Keep several bags on hand, always. Now, all of those proteins, grains, and vegetables need one more layer to become meals you actually want to eat, and that's where the pantry staples come in. Onions are the cheapest flavor foundation that exists in cooking. Almost every cuisine on Earth starts with an onion in a pan. Buy them by the bag, not individually, and they'll last for weeks. Garlic goes alongside them, but garlic deserves a specific instruction that most home cooks have never heard. Garlic contains a compound called allicin, which is responsible for most of its cardiovascular and antimicrobial health benefits. But here's the catch: allicin doesn't exist in an intact garlic clove. It's only created when the cell walls are physically broken, triggering an enzymatic reaction, and that reaction takes time. If you mince or crush your garlic and immediately throw it into a hot pan, you destroy the enzyme before the reaction can complete, and you lose most of the health benefit. The fix is simple. Crush or mince your garlic and let it sit on the cutting board for 10 minutes before it touches any heat. That's it. 10 minutes of waiting unlocks the full benefit that makes garlic one of the most studied functional foods on the planet. Canned tomatoes are a pantry essential for sauces, stews, soups, and braises. Here's something worth knowing. The antioxidant lycopene, which is one of the primary reasons tomatoes are considered so beneficial for health, is actually more bioavailable in cooked canned tomatoes than in raw ones. Heat and processing break down the cell walls and make the lycopene easier for your body to absorb. And on the question of brand, don't bother with premium labels. Pick up a store brand can of crushed or diced tomatoes and read the ingredient list. It will almost always be identical to the product costing twice as much next to it on the shelf. Peanut butter is one of the most satisfying foods you can eat on a budget, and there's a physiological reason for that. The combination of fat, protein, and fiber in peanut butter triggers a strong satiety response. It signals to your brain that you are full. At roughly 8 cents per serving, it is one of the cheapest ways to quiet hunger that exists. Pair it with oats, spread it on whole wheat toast, stir it into a sauce. It earns its place in the pantry many times over. Olive oil has a higher upfront cost than vegetable oil, but a bottle lasts for weeks when used appropriately, and its health credentials are as well established as any food ingredient in existence. It's the cornerstone fat of the Mediterranean diet, consistently associated with reduced cardiovascular risk. Use it for finishing dishes, making dressings, and light sautéing. And then there are lentils, which might be the single most practical health food available to anyone, anywhere, at any income level. Unlike dried beans, lentils require no soaking. They cook in under 20 minutes. A $2 bag produces enough food to feed a family across multiple meals. They're high in iron, high in folate, high in protein, high in fiber. There is genuinely no excuse not to have a bag of lentils in the pantry at all times. They are the definition of a no-barrier, no-excuse health food.
Now here's the strategy that ties all of it together, and this is the part most people skip, which is exactly why most people are still spending too much and wasting too much. Set aside 90 minutes on a Sunday. That's it, 90 minutes once a week. During that time, you cook a large batch of rice or lentils, roast a tray of sweet potatoes, cook your chicken thighs, and maybe prep your oats for the next few mornings. You're not making specific meals, you're building components, cooked proteins, cooked grains, roasted vegetables, that can be assembled into completely different meals throughout the week in minutes. Monday is a grain bowl, Tuesday is a stir fry with frozen vegetables, Wednesday is pasta with canned tomato sauce and lentils, Thursday is chicken and roasted sweet potato. Each one takes 10 minutes because the hard work is already done. The ingredients are already cooked, you're just assembling. This is what eliminates the 7 o'clock panic that ends in a $50 delivery order. That panic isn't caused by laziness, it's caused by having nothing ready and no system in place. The 90-minute Sunday session is the system, and when you run the numbers across a year, the reduced food waste, the eliminated delivery orders, the bulk buying advantage, the savings aren't small, they're in the hundreds of dollars for 90 minutes of work once a week. That's the whole system. 23 items working together, backed by real nutritional science, built around a kitchen strategy that almost anyone can execute. Your grocery bill goes down, your food waste goes down, your energy and nutrition go up, and the Sunday session means that the answer to what's for dinner is never a crisis again. If this video is useful to you, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who could benefit from this kind of content, and subscribe to Essential Pantry so you don't miss what's coming next. We'll see you in the next one.